Hi friend, welcome to my channel, and today I will be showing you guys how to make some smothered pork chops that's gonna be so mouth-watering that they will make you want to lick all 10 of your little fingers. Who child? Stay tuned, you don't want to miss this. I'm trying to tell you. All right, friends, so we're going to be using pork loin rib chops, thinly sliced, about 3 pounds. And I paid $15.31 for this. I got this from Publix. You can find it for way cheaper at like a Mama's Meat, Papa's Produce, or like at Walmart, okay? But Publix is a little bit expensive. I already done told y'all that several times, but I love me some Publix. You pay for the customer service, okay? All right. Then I went ahead and I put a little bit of lime juice and I put a little bit of vinegar so that I can clean my meat. You know, in my channel, I always clean my meat. And you know, I'm going to tell you, baby, if you don't want to clean your meat, that's your business. You ain't got to do it. Don't let me be the reason. But when it comes to me, the meat got to be clean before it goes into my mouth. And I ain't just talking about pork chops. I got to go ahead. I got to take all that extra stuff off. I don't know who done touched this meat. I don't know where this meat done been. This meat done went through a many miles to try to come to me. So it got to be washed, okay? It got to be washed. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm wash it with that lemon and the little vinegar and the lime in the vinegar. And I'm going to give it 2 rinses, okay? Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to dispose of the water. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try to, make sure I take all that water out because I don't need no excess water. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab my cutting board and I'm going to put a paper towel on my cutting board. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to place the pork chops on the paper towel. This is so that I can pat my pork chops. I could pat them dry and I don't have no excess water. That's why I'm doing that right there. I don't need no excess water in my pork chops. I want them to be dry. I don't need them to boil. Okay. All right. Then I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to start to season them. I'm going to use adobo. The first thing I'm going to use is adobo. I'm going to use 1 tablespoon and I'm going to use 1 tablespoon for the front and the back. So I'm going to use some of that 1 tablespoon for the front. I'm going to sprinkle it all over. Make sure each piece, every single inch of that pork chop, get some of that adobo seasoning, okay? Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take my hand and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put it in there. I'm going to mix it in there. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to flip it over so that I could put the remainder of the 1 tablespoon of adobo seasoning onto the other side of the pork chop. Make sure when you're seasoning your meat, you season both sides. Do not just season one side, baby, because you got to eat both sides. So why would you only season one side? Make it make sense. Come on now. Oh, come on. It's like doing the equation and only doing half the equation. Your answer's still wrong because you ain't do the other half. All right. Then we're going to go ahead. We're going to grab some garlic powder and we're also going to grab some onion powder. And we're going to use a tablespoon of each. We're going to do some of one on one side. Then we're going to go ahead. We're going to flip it and we're going to use the remainder on the other side, just like we did the adobo. And you have to remember that garlic powder and onion powder are non-salt based seasoning. What does that mean? They do not carry salt. They do not have salt. So you cannot make your food salty by adding onion powder and garlic powder. I see somebody cooking something, they add garlic powder, onion powder, some black pepper, and then here's a Karen. Oh my God, that's so much seasoning. That's too much seasoning. Girl, if you don't shut your macaroni and raisin self up, this why you're not invited to the cookout. This why don't nobody be wanting to eat your food when you cook it, because that's no seasoning. And if that's what you think, that's why your food ain't got no seasoning. Don't nobody want it. You taste garlic and you taste onion. So that's what it is. There's a difference. Know the difference. Learn the difference. Okay? Boom. Next, we're going to go ahead. We're going to use some seasoning salt. Now, this is a salt-based seasoning. This is going to give it some salt, just like the adobo. That's a salt-based seasoning, okay? Those is the things you can't go too crazy with or it's going to make your food salty, okay? So I'm using 1 tablespoon, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put some of the 1 tablespoon on one side. Now, after I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to flip them over, and I'm going to use the remainder on the other side, okay? Then after that, we're just going to go ahead. We're going to put some extra virgin olive oil. You could use whatever kind of oil you want. I'm using this so that the seasoning can stick onto the meat, and also for when I put my flour on the pork chops, it's also, the oil is also going to help the flour stick onto the pork chops, okay? So I'm just going ahead and I'm mixing everything with my hand into there. I'm just massaging that seasoning into the pork chops, okay? I'm being good to the pork chops. I'm talking to the pork chop. I'm making love to the pork chop, because when I'm good to the pork chop, the pork chop gonna be good to me. When I talk nice to pork chop, you hear these people upstairs making all this noise. That's the people upstairs. You hear them making all this noise? Child, not at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, child. I want to be like them when I grow up. Anyway, now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna grab 2 cups of all-purpose flour, and I'm gonna put the 2 cups of all-purpose flour on the pork chops, okay, so that I can bread up the pork chops, okay, because I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna fry these, so I need to bread them up first to make them smothered, okay. So I'm gonna just go ahead and I'm gonna put the flour on there, and I'm just go ahead and I'm gonna pat the flour onto the pork chops. If you want to do this on the plate or in a bowl or a different way, baby, that's your business. You could do that, but this is how I wanted to do mine, and so that's how I did mine, okay. So all I did was I put some flour on there. I turned each and every single pork chop over to make sure I got some flour on both sides of the pork chops. Then I went ahead and I used my hand to pat the flour onto the pork chop. Once you got all of your pork chops covered in flour, you're just going to go ahead and you're going to set them to the side. And you're going to go ahead and you're going to put a skillet on the stove at high heat 7-8. And you're going to add 2 cups of vegetable oil. You could use whatever kind of oil you so desire, to be very honest with you, all right? Then you're going to go ahead and you're going to add the pork chops onto the oil once the oil gets hot, and you're going to let each pork chop cook for approximately 3 to 4 minutes on each side, just until the crust get a nice golden brown color. Even if the pork chop is not cooked all the way, that's okay, because we're going to let it cook a little bit longer in the gravy, so you don't got to worry about none of that. It's all going to come together. Trust me, friend, okay? So you're just going to keep doing that until all your pork chops is cooked. My pan was big enough for me to do it by 2s, okay? And I'm also going to go ahead and I'm going to chop up 1 large onion. There is no wrong or right way for you to chop up the onion. You could chop it up however you so desire, but this is how I want to cut it up, okay? So I just went ahead and I cut up that onion, and then after that, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to take the heat. Now I'm going to put the heat down. I'm going to put it down like at a 6-5, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to remove most of that oil, because I no longer need all that oil, but all the flour particles you see at the bottom and all that you see, I need that to help me make the gravy. It's going to be like a base for the gravy, okay? So we need that. So I took off most of the oil. When you have approximately this much oil left, you're good to go, okay? Then you're going to go ahead and you're going to add the onions that you chopped up earlier into the pot. And you're going to go ahead and you're going to mix everything together until they become one as a unit. You're going to let that onion caramelize in that oil, okay? You're going to let it cook in that oil. You're going to let that oil get some of that onion flavor. Then we're going to go ahead and we're going to add some flour to thicken this up so that we can make gravy. Because you know gravy got to be thick. With your gravy watery, baby, that ain't it. You could keep it when you don't want it. The gravy's supposed to be thick, okay? So I went ahead and I added 3 tablespoons of flour so I could make sure my gravy is thick like me. Okay, all right. Then we're just going to go ahead. We're going to mix that all over until you see no more white. Okay, you see no more white. You're going to mix it. Then you're going to let it cook for like 2 minutes, because you do not want your gravy to just taste like a block of flour. Like you eating flour. That's not what you want. You don't want that business. So you got to go ahead and you got to let that flour cook. Then I did go ahead and add some bell peppers and onions. The only 2 colors I had in my refrigerator was red and yellow, so that's what I added. But if you have more, add more. If you don't want to add them at all, baby, don't. That's your business. Do whatever you want to do. That's your food. Then I went ahead and I added 3 minced garlic cloves, okay, so I could give my food some of that garlic flavor. This gravy gonna be all that. I'm trying to tell you, all those flavors is gonna get married and become together. They good by themselves, but when they together, it's gonna be united. It's gonna be the ultimate taste in your mouth, okay? Then I went ahead and I added 1 cup of chicken broth. If you don't have chicken broth, you can add water, but you're going to have to add some things into the gravy to give it more flavor, because you know water ain't got no flavor, okay? So I added 1 cup of chicken broth. I'm going to let it I'm going to mix it, and I'm going to let it thicken up a little bit. When it look a little bit something like this, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add 2 more cups of chicken broth, okay? And I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to keep mixing it so that you don't have clumps and lumps and bumps in your gravy, and your gravy could be nice and smooth, okay? I'm just going to go ahead, I'm going to mix everything together, let the flavors combine. I'm going to taste it for salt. I felt like it needed a little bit more salt, so I added a 1/2 cube of chicken flavor bouillon. If you don't like chicken flavor bouillon, you could always just add some salt, or you could add some adobo, okay? All right. So right now I still didn't want to add too much seasoning because you know we're still gonna put the pork chops in there, and the pork chops themselves had some seasoning in there. So you know you want to kind of slow down a little bit, okay? Then I went ahead and I added some parsley and thyme tied together. If you don't have it like that, because I want to add the fresh one, you could add like the one that come in a seasoning bottle, parsley and thyme. You could add that. Then I had these salt and pepper shakers that I just got or whatnot, and I went ahead and I added some black pepper. You always want to add some black pepper to your gravy. It just does something to it, okay? It's a must. So you're gonna add about 1 teaspoon of black pepper into there, okay? All right. And then after that, you could add more or less though. It all depends on you. Or if you really don't like black pepper at all, because I did meet this one girl this one time and she told me that black pepper was spicy. I looked at her like, you serious? But she was serious. So if you don't like it at all and you feel like it's gonna make your food too spicy, baby, don't add it. That's your business. You ain't got to add it because this your food is going in your stomach. So you ain't got to add it if you don't want to add it, baby. That's your business. All right? All right. So then I went ahead and I put the pork chops onto the gravy. Okay? I'm just go ahead and put all the pork chops. I'm going to have to mix them because you see the pot is little and I got a lot of pork chops. So I did kind of lift some of them, put up some of them at the bottom. And I did get the remainder, you know, like the remainder of the sauce that had fell into the pot when I had put it. Well, it's not a pot, the bowl when I have put the pork chops in there, okay? So this is just me maneuvering the pork chops all around, making sure each one of them gets some of that gravy and all that gravy gets some of them pork chops. Sometimes when you're moving them, a little bit of the breading might fall off, but that's okay. That's okay. Everything's still going to come together. Everything's still going to taste good, okay? We're just going to go ahead. We're going to mix it all together. Then after that, we're going to go ahead. We're going to let it cook. Make sure you clean as you cook, like as you see, because you see stuff popping. So make sure you're cooking as you clean and clean as you cook. Because if your food, if your kitchen nasty, ain't nobody going to want to eat from you, friend. I'm trying to tell you, I'm be the first. And I'm saying, friend, your kitchen a little bit nasty. That means you're a little bit nasty. I can't eat from you. So clean as you cook, clean as you cook. I went ahead and I covered it and I let it cook for a good 20 to 30 minutes. Then after that, it looks something like this. And remember, my heat is low, like at a 6-7. And I go ahead and I let that thing cook. I went ahead and I added some fresh parsley to it, baby, just like that. Friend, do you see how beautiful these pork chops look? Do you see how beautiful these smothered pork chops look, child? Let's go ahead and give these beautiful smothered pork chops a moment of silence for the beauty that they hold. Yes, child. Yes, these pork chops were so delicious. I'm trying to tell you, these little pork chops right here will have you licking all 10 of your little fingers. Talking about this little piggy went in my mouth, that little piggy, but man, all them little piggies went in your mouth. Because this little pork chop was so good that baby, you gonna be licking all your fingers. Everybody gonna be looking at you like you don't got no home training. But it's not your fault, baby. It's not your fault. The food just so good. You can't help yourself. I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to tell you. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and go ahead and subscribe to my channel for more videos. Bye. Until next time.